showing call to action versus entertainment on TV and online? Like, do you guys think?
Well, it's, I don't have numbers for you, but I think it's an interesting thing to think about, because you've got to take a look at at where you are in the marketing funnel too. So on broadcast, you're sitting at the top of the funnel in many ways. You're doing a 15 or a 30-second spot. It's about awareness. It's about entertainment. It's about aligning your brand with an experience and walking away with a fuzzy experience. Or, you're launching a new detergent. You want everyone in the world to know you've got a new detergent that smells like Justine Baby. I mean, those are the things that you do there. When you're in the middle of the funnel, where people are trying to actually get to know whether a product's right for them or see what's there or not, there's a little bit more depth of experience. I think that internet video and attaching it into communities and bringing it into video and doing it in more of an earned way can do a little bit more about that. There's more of a deeper experience. But then when you're at the bottom of the funnel, you want people to do something, which is to buy. That's where there's the call to action. I think internet video has more of that, and we do that with Netflix and GoDaddy, Squarespace, GameFly, JackThreads, where there's very much in the video of, hey, sign up, go to netflix.com/dignation and sign up. That can be very successful, but I think that it really is much more closer to Google click search than it is 30-second spot on NBC.
Yeah, they won't even sell you that. Even if you want to spend the money, they won't sell a direct response ad in direct prime time television. It's not the way they do it. So
that's like late night TV where you've got a half hour and
it's
someone's like,
syndication. I mean, there are lots of ways you get that.
I want
But
it.
it's sort of it's that reach frequency.
Yeah.
So.
And just like as we've been talking about with other video content, it's like play to your medium, right? You don't want a direct response on the 50-inch plasma because nobody's going to pull out the keyboard and go typing. But I think the next generation of real value.
Short codes and stuff like that, right?
Well, there's all sorts of things you can do. It's a question of do people actually want to do it in that at that time, that place, in that environment. And I think where the next wave of really interesting value for advertising will come is kind of progressive advertising. So if I know that you've now seen a branded ad on my 50-inch plasma, and now you're looking at the same website on my PC, and then I'm looking at the mobile app, can I progressively move you very quickly to a call to action, where I can now have a direct measured response?
I mean, autos, I think that's probably going to be the automobiles. They're going to be the ones that really take advantage of that. And it's really interesting the way that Ford launched the 2011 Explorer on Facebook versus a whole slew of ads on television to get more information about it, to sign up for it, to like it, that kind of thing. So, I think to your point, then they're going to launch all the ads to drive people back to Facebook, which will, again, it's just to your point.
What's interesting about the progressive experience you're talking about, where you watch on TV and then you get a little closer, you get a little website, you get a mobile, get deeper. That, by the way, talking about how all companies are media companies now, that's what media does. I mean, that's been the job of a good media person has been, sample, try, get addicted, can't live without it. Also drug dealers, but that is what we do as media, is we get people addicted to our content, which is exactly what you're talking about on the advertising side as well.
Right.
And how those worlds are colliding.
Procter & Gamble has their own in-house production company. General Motors has their own in-house media buying agency. I mean, these guys are very sophisticated when it comes to media. And as much as they are manufacturers of products that we use every day, they are also marketers. And that is how they, and media is how they get the word out. And they're very sophisticated about it.
So then what would be your what would be your advice for startups, smaller companies that are starting and they want to get the message out with video to their audience? I mean,
well, who's your audience? Who do you want to get the message to? And define where they are. Go find the communities where they are. And the people who are creating video, and the influencers for that community, who are the video-based influencers that are talking to that community, and then work with them to bring the product in some way.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
It goes back to the whole Clue Train manifesto and everything else. It's like find the audience, engage them in a meaningful relationship, add value to the relationship. Don't try to just suck value out. And especially for a startup, I'd say advertising has in some ways the least value, right? Until you can find that audience and engage a relationship, figure out how you're adding value together, and then once you have that, then you can amplify that or accelerate that through advertising.
But I think there are also opportunities that are site-specific or community-specific that you can engage in once you've identified, once, like Jim said, you found that. For instance, on a site like Dig or Reddit, they'll accept content that's figure out where your community is, make video content specifically for that community, and deliver it there in a format that feels natural. We have another-
Paid and
yeah.
earned have to
Yeah.
work together. I mean,
Yeah.
you really, very rarely you're gonna see anything that's truly earned media that's just gonna be, all of a sudden get 12 million views and a head start.
Yeah.
Um,
We have a question out here.
I have two questions, but I'll go, one is on syndication and the other is on live video, so it sounds like maybe syndication might be more appropriate for now. We talk about, building, been out talking with a lot of VCs and startups about building the YouTube channel, this sort of thing as the distribution model, but I'm wondering if people are looking at the idea of syndication, meaning looking at your psychographic, aggregating it across multiple sites, syndicating out your content with whatever brand or advertising is associated with it versus thinking of, in addition to, say, building your YouTube channel or other things, a different way of finding audience, but they're not all sitting at, site.com. They may be at 20 different sites, right? They're defining them behaviorally.
This
Wondering
is
if
Mr.
people are looking
Syndication,
into that.
so, this
Yeah.
is how he built his business,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, and for us, it's about, and we didn't do this on YouTube, we were late to YouTube, but it's about going to the places where your audience may be, but also being first or being close to first. So if you can get there early, you can build an audience before everyone else shows up. So keeping an eye on what those platforms are, and we're now, when we bring on a new show, we're moving towards, we're not 100% there yet, but when we launch it, we'll have, launch a YouTube channel, we'll launch an iTunes, we will have an Android app, we'll have an iPhone app for that show, we'll have Google TV, we'll have all these, the Roku app. You'll be in all these places where you have the potential to find your audience. And I really think, at least for our audience, you need to be in all those different places. And there used to be a lot more video platforms that we would syndicate to, but most of them have gone away.
Yeah, it's sort of a survival. It's just like there's gonna be a lot of over-the-top devices, there's gonna be a lot of,
Right.
so again, have them all, and then that's the beauty of being a content company, actually, is that, you're malleable that way, because you just go everywhere and broadcast that. There's also ad networks, which, I think there's some good things and there's some bad things about it. I think the good thing is that it does reach a lot of sites, particularly if you wanna target something specific and you can get there. The bad thing is that, brands are occasionally a little wary, just because sometimes they do things like autoplay, which can be perceived as spam, things like that. So,
Autoplay below the fold with the sound off.
again, next to a game.
If a tree falls in the middle of the
or an-
forest and no one hears it, you
Yeah.
actually get the view. The other thing on that is, have you ever worked with DBG? You know those guys? We worked with them a little bit, and I know they push video out into ad units. Would you consider them an ad network, the digital broadcast group? They seem to have had some success, but I don't know.
Yeah, they've certainly, part of their success has been they've reached out to some of the bigger some names in Hollywood like Seth Green and Kiefer Sutherland, and they're doing some programs with them. Again, I think it's all going to be, they can distribute as much as possible. I think ultimately, if they get a ton of views, were they user initiated, were they not? Those are the things that will determine whether or not they'll be successful. I look at all these things that if they keep getting repeat business, then they were successful.
Right.
Okay, so if they
They're good at something.
right.
Yeah, one other trend I see a lot of is kind of the expansion of the celebrity spokesperson model and kind of name dropping stuff incorporating into your content that definitely Jim has done for a long time and increasingly, it doesn't have to be Kiefer Sutherland. It could just be like, one of those girls that does makeup tutorials on YouTube or something like that is like probably a really good place for a brand to be. And it seems like there's a whole kind of ecosystem emerging around servicing those online stars and creating
Yep.
business opportunities for them.
Maker Studios. That's what
Yeah.
that's what they do, and they've done it very well. And I think more and more brands are going that way because it's almost like, when you have how many subscribers do you have on YouTube?
We just crossed 1 million.
All right, so
Very much.
knowing that they have 1 million subscribers, or that if Lisa Nova has over 1 million subscribers, you kind of know what you're going to get. And to add in a layer of predictability, so that ROI becomes clearer in terms of the investment you're making in the videos, is a nice factor to have. And if you get to that point where you can actually guarantee the number of views, then you're really on your way.
Which is what we do, and it's important to note that, you know, the celebrity spokes model of a Kiefer Sutherland is very different from Lisa Nova or Michelle Phan, who's one of the makeup folks, and see, I know those people. And it's because it's my business. But that's because, you know, if you think about it, if we were all to meet Kiefer Sutherland, if you walked in the door, we'd all be like, oh my God, it's Kiefer Sutherland, can I touch you? Whereas the folks on YouTube you're talking about, whether and they're not on a pedestal. They're authentic, real friends. And one of the guys who runs our user group in New York said it very well. It's not a fan base; it's a friend base. And when one of these people says something about, you know, like Michelle Phan, it's like I think L'Oreal is a sponsor. It's like, gosh, I really like this L'Oreal eyeliner. I mean, look at what I really don't know enough about eyeliner, so I can't really do this in promo. Yeah, I guess, but that's like your friend telling you. And you know, if your friend says to you, and think about it, it's Yelp, it's TripAdvisor, it's whatever. If your friend says this is a great product, you're much more likely to take it than if Kiefer Sutherland says it's a great product. You're like, he's probably getting paid for that. It's Kiefer Sutherland. I know about it, but it's more real.
Where should people go to find these new celebrity spokespeople?
Well, I think, you know, YouTube's a great place to start, right? But they're all over the place. Find those communities. Find the people who are the, you know, the alpha dogs at the center of that community, and those are the people.
So I think the other important thing is it's portfolio management, right? With your communications, with your brand message, with your video, you manage portfolio. You're going to have some that go big, and you're going to want to quickly shift your resources to that. But you got to play the field. You know, the famous story about Super Bowl ads is Master Lock used to only ever run one advertisement ever, and it was during the Super Bowl. And they did that for a number of years, and it was very successful. You can't do that in today's world. There are no silver bullets. So you have to play the field. You have to make a bunch of, in some ways, all of you will be the VCs of the media and video world, because you're putting bets on a bunch of different things, seeing what's going to take off, and then you shift all your dollars there and try to make it go big, right? And you're going to cut the losers, which is something that a lot of us have a hard time doing, even in investment worlds. You know, when you see it's a dog, cut it, move on, right? Because there's too many options out there.
Scott, it seems like we had a lot of content producers and audience also on the panel. So can you kind of make the connection between what they're doing in EOS?
Sure. So, I mean, what we're trying to do is deliver branded social experiences, right? So that you don't have to, if you have a great content brand, you don't have to give away all of your traffic and value to a social destination like a Twitter or a Facebook. I mean, if you're again a Harry Potter or San Francisco Giants or something like that, somebody Googles Harry Potter, they don't find harrypotter.facebook.com. They find harrypotter.com. And once you've got that fan base there, and you're showing them premium content, you own the brand, and you in some ways control the experience a little bit more, why not choose to engage them there in a interactive, immersive experience that will keep them coming back, rather than having them come watch a bunch of great video that you just spent a lot of money producing, and then having them go to Facebook and talk about it, right?
That's major for enterprise.
Yeah, so you're creating value for Facebook, because all that interaction, all that continuing engagement is happening there. And one of the things that we see with all the media companies we work with on EOS is people come for premium content. That's the social object around which people want to interact, but then they stay for community, right? So if you're a diehard fan of a particular rock band or show or something, you don't want to wait till Thursday at 7 p.m. to see the next episode. You want to see the behind the scenes. You want to have the conspiracy theory conversations and all of those things. And again, people will do that on discussion boards, on Facebook, on Twitter, and everywhere else. If you're not giving them that option to do that on your own brand site, you're missing a huge potential opportunity to have that relationship with consumers.